You're listening to the Live Out Loud podcast with River Wynn and Michele Flamer.
Hi, River.
Hi, Michele.
What's up? Guess what? I had some people someone texted me recently just saying, "Oh my God." Actually, it was through Instagram, and they slid into my DMs, or maybe it could have been it might have been the podcast DM, but they were like, "I love how you guys like start the podcast." She said every time she hears me go, "Hi, River," she's like, "I know it's on." Like it's so cute. It was really sweet. I was like loving that. And speaking of
adorable. I love it.
I know. Speaking of that, one of my dear friends from junior high, we were both obsessed with Rick Springfield and wore Converse, and she used to wear like the different color. Her name is Tracy. So she texted me this morning and said, "Hi, love. I'm listening to this week's podcast, The Best Way to Research a Therapist." And she was referring to, because she is listening to last week's, episode.
Yeah.
The best way to research a therapist for her has been, and what modalities, is psychologytoday.com, which I put an article in there, but I didn't say psychologytoday.com. And she said it's an amazing tool. I personally used it to find my therapist, highly recommend. And then she said, I love this. Sorry for the random text. Sometimes I just need to reply while I'm listening. And I LOL.
I relate.
I asked her, I got permission. You heard me read it back to you. So we've got permission to use this. And yeah.
Thank you, Tracy. Shout out to Tracy, because that is a helpful tip for people who might be looking for a therapist, but trying to figure out what a specific therapist offers in terms of modalities, because it's true. You can go to a therapist's bio. I've done this before, looking for a therapist locally, and they'll have a short bio, but they don't say exactly what type of therapy they use. So
yeah,
it can be kind of a challenge to figure out if, we were talking about IFS last week. So if you're looking for an IFS therapist, how do you find one? So that's a really great tip.
I am so excited about people reaching out to us now.
Yeah.
And wanting to be guests. And it's funny because I have to explain to them, we love having guests. It's just this time of year, it's harder to connect with people on their holiday schedules and kids starting to get out of school and things like that. So I said, we're just doing these podcasts for you and I, so that we can be consistent and show up every week, because it's super important to us. It's super important to what we want for this podcast. And especially I don't want to let down any listeners, and they get excited to hear what's coming. So I'm super excited about the conversations that are to come. Some super heavy, and some are really around just continually bettering ourselves as women and going into the new year, talking about that word resolution, which I keep bringing up, but I really want to drive a whole, a whole collective around no more resolutions and that kind of thing. But I
love that, because we have our next Live Out Loud retreat happening.
Whoop, whoop.
On December 30th. If you are in Oregon, come hang out with me.
I actually may come up for that one for sure.
I would love it if you did. It's going to be small. It's going to be here in the Grand. Come hang out with me. We're going to have somatics and body movement, journaling, sound therapy. And the theme of this one is kind of what we're talking about with intention setting and all of that. The theme is winter for women, winter for the mind, body, soul for women. Winter is a time of deep reflection, of going inward, of nurturing and waiting for spring. So we're going to be deep diving that from a spiritual perspective.
I mean, just think about the visuals of winter, right? The trees have fallen, the leaves, not the trees, but the leaves have fallen off the trees. Please, no trees were harmed in the making of this podcast. That's where my brain just went, right?
Had a visual of like all of a sudden like it's fall and the trees are just like falling everywhere.
Oh, like our poor saguaro cactuses during this hot summer. Poor things.
Oh, so
They
sad. So
couldn't
sad.
even handle it anymore. But no, so the leaves have fallen. Let me set the wintry tone.
Said it.
So the leaves have fallen and the trees are bare. Here's my trees. And it's snowy and cold. And what do you want to do? You want to just stay inside by a fire. You want to eat crock pot meals and chili and soup. Oh, we're back to soup.
Yep. Soup.
We're back to soup. We're wearing beanies. We're
Uh-huh.
cold. And we're just thinking about what spring looks like and the rebirth. I mean, if you just go along with what winter brings and the seasons, it's like this natural evolution of what Earth. Have you seen, and I think Kaden showed it to me recently. It was like, it's really cool. It's like parts of the body represent what things in nature look like. Have you, I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah, you have to send it to me. I think my kids would like that, but I don't think
Yeah,
I've seen
it's like,
it.
yeah, like the lungs have those little veins, like leaves, and like the heart, like everything was cool. Like it all represented like there are no accidents. We are divine beings walking this earth, and
Absolutely.
and if people just like lean into that, life will not be as hard for people. Like,
Or well, it's still hard because we're still souls having a human journey.
true.
And like right now there's a lot of hard things happening in the world, right?
Yep.
But your ability to navigate those hard things shifts.
Yeah.
And changes.
100%. And I think within all of that, I think understanding that every challenge is just that human lesson is just but I think it's even more than that though. I think we get Bashar is who I've been following along for a while now on Gaia. And the way that he channels, it just is like, it makes it so simple. He's like, you can make your life as rough as you need to, or as soft as you need to, that within the human experience, you can lean in to the hard and push through, or you can sit and wait for things to come to you, which in the human experience equates to the challenge, the why me? Why can't I have that? Why can't it's all that ego in our head, and not being egotistical. It's just that we're allowing that human core, that ego part of us to say, well, why is life harder for me than that person over there? And the only difference at that point sometimes is mindset, is just the mind shift. Not always. I'm not saying that if you're in a really tough spot and you don't have people around you to be supportive. I mean, because I'm not a therapist at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that's at play that it's not just it's not as easy as I'm saying it, right?
Totally. And it's interesting, like I was thinking about this morning, because every day I'm sitting here watching what's coming out of Palestine and all the videos, and it's so horrific, and there's so much trauma happening, unfolding, and then there's these little moments coming out of there too. Like this morning I watched a video of a boy in the refugee area in Palestine, in Gaza, and he was holding his cat, and he brought his cat to the refugee site with him. And he was talking about how his cat deserved to be safe, and was sharing love with all the kids in the camp. So he's carrying his cat around, bringing joy to the other kids who are experiencing so much trauma. And he said this beautiful, wise thing. He said, Why would I not give safety and love to my cat? My cat has a soul. This cat is having experience. This cat is just as scared as we are, but here we are comforting each other. And so, fuck, humanity is so fucking resilient,
Yes.
and you can try to kill the innate love and joy that is in humanity, but it still comes out even in the most painful and awful of experiences in the midst of trauma. There's this little boy carrying his cat around, bringing joy to other people with this cat. And that just like that for some reason, just like out of all the things I've been seeing, like, and I've been crying so much, but that just like for some reason, like broke me even more a little bit because that was just like the ability of children, especially
God, they're
to, in the
amazing.
midst of deep pain, sometimes
Uh-huh.
have the most beautiful wisdom and perspective. It's just
Well, and when it's a
beautiful.
child, you can't look away at that point because
No.
their tender heart is showing. And the fact that this little boy is a light worker and he doesn't understand the words, he doesn't understand the gift he is giving to people at that moment. It's like one of those things where maybe in the future he bumps into somebody who was in that same horrific situation who says, were you the one with that cat that day in the blah blah blah? Because you don't even know what you did for me that day. It's like one of those full circle moments will happen for him. And he'll know his purpose. Like there are beautiful moments everywhere like that. And I think the holidays are really reminiscent more about those moments for me than, of course, the gift giving and the money being spent at a Hallmark store or at Target or on even Amazon. And it's really embracing that humanity needs one big motherfucking hug right now. And
Yeah. Yeah.
God, oh,
Yeah.
it's so sweet just now. You literally, your shoulders
Yeah.
just like dropped. And
I feel I feel like how much pain our planet is going through right now, and it's not just Gaza and Palestinians. Like, there are so many communities around the world where people are being subjected to deep pain and being exploited, and there is just a lot of pain in the world right now.
I was,
Uh,
can I share a quick story too?
yeah, yeah.
I was at the dog park yesterday, and of course, grateful. I have a dog park. Like, you know what I mean? Just so grateful for all these little things. And I'm just sitting there, and Cooper's just having so much fun. And this really, I can tell he's just a kind-hearted man who just starts to talk to me. And he's like, he goes, "Are you Jewish?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm Jewish." And he goes, "I'm going to a synagogue tonight." I go, "Well, that's cool." He goes, "I was married for 24 years. My girls are a little bit grown, are grown. And,
Mm,
my ex-wife and I are friends. And I've just been feeling so isolated lately. Like
mm,
just, I go, is the tribe calling you home? Because in the Jewish, like we're like member of the tribe. And
mm.
he said, is the tribe? And he goes, kind of, yeah. And so he's going to two different synagogues this weekend to sort of connect and find community. And here's this just beautiful, wholesome man, just also, and he said, I just really want to tell you, like, I don't know why I feel like I can tell you this thing, but feeling isolated as a man in this world right now, I
Mhm.
feel like I am so like I am more alone than I've ever been. And I said, I can understand that. It's a hard place to be. And then on top of it being Jewish with everything that's going on. And he was so sweet. And I just said, "Can I hug you?" And he said, "Oh my God, I'd love a hug." And then we just
Mhm.
totally hugged, took each other's phone numbers. And tomorrow morning we're going for coffee just to
Oh, I love that.
yeah. I told him I'd be his lesbian wing woman, and he's like, "I love that." But he loves hiking. Like his whole
Mhm.
Instagram is hiking. And he's a
Cool.
financial guy, but it doesn't, I mean, regardless of that, like having a human moment where, first of all, we were both Jewish and we could embrace that moment together is, God, are literally the moments I live for.
Humans crave deep connection. We crave being seen. We crave being known. And at the same time, we're so afraid of it. And then when we come across someone who is literally walking through the world with their heart wide open, we feel that and we're drawn to that. So that's why he was drawn to you, because you walk with your heart wide open and you're outward facing to the world. You're open and accepting. You're not closed off. You're not judgmental. Like, you are just so, like, I keep saying heart open, but that's really kind of what it is. And people feel that. People sense that, and they need it and they crave it.
We all really do. I mean, even as much as you're on a solo spiritual journey, because the sad part of that is there's only one person that can do our internal work, and that's us. I can hold space for you. I can hold space for my fellow man and say, I am here to listen. I am here. I'll hold your hand through the moment. But at the end of the day, we arrive in this world on our own, right? Birth.
Yep.
We are birthed out of our womb. And the only way to return home to our self womb is literally to work within ourselves, for ourselves, so that we can be the best. And like you said recently, which is, God, I love the fact that whatever comes my way now, I am resilient to, like, I won't lose myself again. I won't allow someone else to say what my value and worth is. And I won't, even if someone comes at me and says, you suck, I'll just be like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, I'm, it's like, that's it. That's me. Like, I'm not going to walk away and go, I suck, and like let it ruin.
I don't know that I would even apologize in that situation. Cause
I
have
wouldn't.
nothing to
I'm just saying
apologize
to
for.
myself, like, I'm sorry to myself. Like, I'm done. I don't suck in that sense, not to them. I stopped apologizing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we don't apologize anymore for
We don't apologize that much.
unless we genuinely fuck up and hurt someone in our life.
Exactly.
We don't apologize for existing.
One thing Chrissy said, and I know she was on the podcast a little bit ago when we were up in Sedona on that full moon, right? And she has taught me about radical acceptance. And radical acceptance is regarding self as well as the situation that you're facing. That the day you were talking about November 1st last year, or maybe 2 years ago, actually, that you knew you were going to get a divorce.
2 years.
2 years. And because you had radical acceptance in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Radical acceptance for yourself. Like, wow, I only know what I know right now. I only know what I know for myself right now. I have radical acceptance that I am standing here now with everything that I have learned up to today. So my radical acceptance is not worrying about what was happening in the past. I'm not even worried right now what's happening in the future. I am radically accepted what my life looks like today. And it's pretty fucking awesome. And I've radically accepted what my 18-year relationship marriage was. And that taught me a whole mess of good stuff, right? A whole bunch of stuff. And so radically acceptance can come in all kinds of forms. Like,
people have asked me, like, do you regret your relationship and marriage with your ex? And I can honestly say no. I don't regret it. Because, I mean, of course, most importantly, I have 2 beautiful children.
Heck yeah.
From that, and how would I regret their lives? But furthermore, that experience changed me as a person and brought me back to myself. It was a catalyst for unlearning a lot of shit, unlearning all the ways I had allowed myself to be treated and self-abandoning. Like it brought me back to me. So how can I regret that experience? Because it's a piece of my story of who I am now.
100%. We both have had readings recently.
Yeah, I mentioned, oh, I don't remember how many episodes, 2 episodes ago, I think
I
it
think
was, that
so.
I was having a
Yeah.
love reading done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
that.
Did you end up finally getting it?
I had my love reading yesterday.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious because you do tarot for yourself. Is it hard to be the student in that moment?
No, it's not, because as someone who's intuitive, as someone who reads the cards and who channels often, um, I can feel when other people are genuinely channeling, and there's a sacredness in that, and they are channeling. I'm not. And
Mm.
so it's so easy to be the one receiving in that situation,
Mhm.
because it rings true. I can feel it coming through them. And also, they're non-biased. So they're able to channel for me in a way that I have a harder time channeling for myself because of my own biases and my emotions and my humanity.
This is my curiosity around the fact that they're not in front of you. They can't feel how the hell do they tap into energy over a phone? Like, I'm always sort of mystified by that. I mean, I guess that's the gift, but it's like,
It's
it
so
blows
wild.
me away.
It's so wild. I'm always, when I do readings, I'm always like, I wonder if this is going to resonate for this person, because I'm just like, it's like you go into like that third eye space, like you go into your heart space, and it's like your whole body just shifts into another dimension. It really does. It goes
Oh,
into a
cool.
completely, it's not brain. It's
Yeah.
not brain at all. There's nothing brain about it. It's all heart, all soul, all like higher consciousness. And so, um, and it's wild to me, because every single time I do a reading for someone, they come back to me and they're like, wow, like that resonates so deeply, and that aligns with what's currently going on in my life. And I have no idea what's going on in their life. Sometimes I do, because it's like my friends come to me frequently for this, but people I don't know, I've never met, I don't know what they look like, I've never talked to them. They purchase a reading from me over my website, and then it's like weird, there's no face-to-face time. I'm with my cards, and it's such an interesting space to go into. There's really, at least for me, there's no words to describe what it feels like and how you get a sense for someone's energy. Because I mean, you can pick up on people's energy just from even the way they type,
Totally.
right? And you can pick
For
up on
sure.
someone's energy in an email. And
For
so it's
sure.
like even that tiniest point of contact can tap you into their energy.
It's really cool. Are you, are you willing to share anything, or was it all sort of top
From my love reading.
from your love reading?
Oh yeah, I mean, I talked about it before it happened on my Instagram, kind of about like what my intentions were with it, because I've had love readings before, but I'm very sparing with them.
Hmm.
I don't want to get too much of a bias going into like my next dating scenario, but it's kind of nice to know what to look out for.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, so basically in a nutshell, I went into it with the intention of just finding out if my own intuition about the next person coming into my life was accurate.
Mm.
Because there's an energy that's been sitting with me for a while that comes into my dreams, and it is masculine. And this person comes into my dreams, and when I meditate, that energy is there, and it's this very, very like divine masculine energy. It's
Mm.
grounded, it's safe, it's healthy, it's very loving, it's very connected. It's very beautiful, and the dreams I have are just so deeply beautiful.
Can I
And
pause
this,
you there? Because the one question I have regarding divine feminine and divine masculine,
yeah,
and we're talking spiritually, right? Because
yeah,
the thing that I get really confused about is divine masculine can be, they can be male or female, how we see it in this earth, on the earth, right? But divine masculine can be a woman, or divine feminine can be a man. It depends on how their core or where they are on the journey. I guess I'm still like
I
a
mean,
little
it's,
confused.
I know, I think the gender thing really kind of messes people up, and it's an energetic thing. It's not a gender thing. And there might be some people who would argue with that and say that it is a gender thing, but the way I view it is like it's the way an energy feels, and masculine energy is, and I hate, almost, I kind of hate like
Right,
masculine
because
and feminine terms, because it's like
right.
it puts you in that space where you feel like it's so genderized, and like our brains go there
Yes.
because that's how we're socially conditioned: masculine man, feminine woman. But that's not how it is. It's about the way that the energy flows and is shaped. And so what is considered quote unquote masculine energy is that very grounded energy that is good at protecting, at leading, at accomplishing things, getting things done, more logic based. Whereas that, what is called feminine energy, is the energy that is more creative, that is more in flow with nature, that is soft, that is receiving, that is open, that is spiritual. And they balance each other out. And we each have those energies within us.
But then there's the runner chaser on top of that dynamic. So
Well,
if
that's twin flame. That's twin flame stuff. That's different.
that's true. Okay. So you're just talking in the sense of soul connections.
Yeah, I'm just talking
Okay.
about like in the context of this reading, especially like for me, in terms of dating and connection, all of that, like the energy that is coming through in my dreams is that very masculine energy. Now, whether that energy presents in person as someone with a male body or a female body or non-binary, I have no clue. I get the feeling and the sense that this person is male identified in real life, but I won't know until they show up. But
Yeah.
the energy of it is very much a balance to my energy, where I am very much the softer, creative, feminine, flowy. That's just how my energy is. This energy that's in my dreams is very much that masculine energy.
What if it was truly opposite? What if they're an awakened male, soft energy, and you're the one that's been doing all the work and you're actually the masculine?
You know, I was having a conversation with some friends about this the other day, and I
I mean,
think
I'm just
that
throwing it out there.
I
I mean,
know. And I love it because I've been thinking about this a lot. And I think that people get so hung up on the genderization. And I think that in society, we're so hung up on heteronormative roles. And that just doesn't fit everyone. I mean, it doesn't fit me all the time either, because as a single mom, I have to
you
rely on my masculine energy
and you have to be
all the
grounding for your
time. And I have
baby
to be
as a
grounding,
mom.
and I have to be logical, and I have to
That's
get shit
right.
done. And I think a lot of platforms and people out there represent that if you are leaning into your masculine energy as a woman, that's a bad thing. And I don't think it's a bad thing. We have to get shit done.
I just have to
You
keep
have to.
asking questions to like any of these cool spiritual advisors and spiritual practitioners that are reputable. I'm not saying the corner
Yeah.
psychic or anything like that. And I'm going to start deep diving into this, because even though I too feel like a divine feminine in the sense of my softness, and the fact that I guess the way that they describe divine feminine is that we're awakened first. We're on the journey. We're open to all of it. Like you said, heart open, and divine masculines typically follow suit, follow a little bit later, until they're in the safety of that beautiful divine relationship, therefore then enabling them to lead, to take, and to want to protect their divine feminine, regardless of gender. But I'm just saying,
Regardless of gender. And I will say, I think one thing that's always kind of sit heavily with me is the fact, like, especially being a bisexual woman, that there's so much of the spiritual world out there that really leaves out the LGBTQ community, because these
Yeah.
heteronormative ideas of gender and masculine and feminine don't align with the reality of being queer
In fact,
and how queer relationships are.
Yeah, in fact, online, if I catch a really interesting reading, because sometimes I just enjoy listening to the readers, especially and the ones that resonate for me or feel very grounded that I am drawn to. If they even in a video catch themselves by saying, hold on, that doesn't mean you're a man or a woman. I'm just stating that. I always comment and say, thank you for not genderizing your reading. And I really appreciate that as a lesbian woman who also sits, even though I'm soft mask, even though I present more masculine, I am just a pile of mush kind of underneath me. And I'm really open to learning everything. So,
and I think for me, where it's like, in terms of my relationships, I know that I am more drawn towards individuals, regardless of gender, who have the capacity to come in and be supportive and be decisive and see my needs and collaborate with me, and sometimes not tell me what to do, but make decisions for me and take the burden off of my shoulders, because I've had to take care of myself in every single capacity for my entire life, from childhood on. So for me, it is a very appealing thing to have a partner who is confident in who they are and confident in their decision making and their leadership skills, that they can come in and recognize the moments when I need someone to step up and handle shit.
So depending upon the relationship, there probably are times where I might present more divine masculine, wanting to come in and nurture, take care of, the things that maybe my person doesn't want to deal with. And so maybe I might present divine masculine to someone, and then I might present divine feminine to another, depending upon those energies. So it's
And it's
just
hard too,
super
because it's like,
fascinating.
even within heteronormative relationships, it's like you have like where it's, man and woman. Even and then there's like different relationship dynamics. Like there are women who want to be the providers. And I think it does them a great disservice to say that a woman who is quote unquote more in her masculine is missing something or lacking something, or doesn't feel safe with her partner or anything like that. I think it does them a huge disservice. And I think it also does a disservice to the men who want to be stay-at-home dads and nurturing their children and taking care of the home. Because
Well, what about gay men relationships, like gay guys?
Like I know a couple where she is a doctor and the primary breadwinner, and she works long hours, long days. She carried their children, but she never wanted to be the primary caregiver of their children, because she's so passionate about what it is that she does and how she helps humanity. And he never wanted to be the primary breadwinner, because he is creative and he loves to do many different things, and he teaches their children at home and he does art with them, and he's so nurtured and focused inward on home and family. They have a beautiful dynamic and they have a beautiful relationship, and they are content and happy with that. And I wouldn't, like, knowing them personally and more deeply, I would never look at them and be like, she's lacking something, he's lacking something.
No, it's a balance.
He's feminine because they're balanced. And so I don't think it matters what your gender is.
Right.
It's, do you have a healthy and fluid relationship between the two of you, where there's a give and take, and one person is able to support an area where the other person doesn't have that capacity, and vice versa.
The other thing that I want to bring up, because it's really been sitting on me from one of our just typical conversations through the week, is how when you find the person that you want to lean into and sort of be in the foxhole with, right? Like what relationships really are truly about, and how we as humans get so in our head about how one thing is going to go a certain way and it fails, or they don't meet up to standards, or blah blah blah, as opposed to really feeling safe within somebody so that you can then show up, because relationships are supposed to bring value and softness to our life, while also allowing us to be our best self. And why do we I'm learning more about these whole karmic relationships, and realizing karma is not how we as Americans, I'll say it as Americans, because we grow up going, oh, I want to do good karma, so I'm going to treat you to a coffee because I need to have good karma. But that's not even what karma,
what it's all
what they're
about.
taught, right? Karmic relationships. It's about ancestral and lineage and things that
Past lives, things that you
yep.
did in a past life. Yep.
It's so interesting how, it's about just holding space, and that our old relationships, like your and my marriage, was truly a karmic chapter that needed to be closed in order for us to be exactly where we are right now, which is why staying present is so important.
It's so interesting because we were talking about this recently. Someone I recently went to coffee with called me or shared with me that they felt that I was a man hater.
It's so far from the truth, which is hilarious.
And I've been thinking about it a lot, not because it was a triggering thing, but it just brought me some food for thought. Not that I think that this person's right, because I know that that's a projection from their own wounds.
Correct.
But it brought up for me a lot of things around what it brought up for me was like, immediately I was like, how could you say that? Because I have always poured myself out for the male species.
Literally.
And like looking back to my marriage and all of that, it was like in all of the masculine relationships I've had, relationships with men, I have never been able to feel safe or relaxed enough to be my natural state of self, which for me, it like who I am creative. I hate calendar and time restraints. To-do lists are the death of my creativity and my flow and my sense of well-being and peace. Having to take care of things all the time, whether it's mowing the lawn or paying the bills, I've always been the person in my relationships who handles those things, even in my marriage, where my spouse at the time would literally just hand me his paycheck and I handle all the bill paying and all of the budgeting and the grocery shopping, the laundry and the medical appointments. So much of my life has been focused on doing, that now my boundaries and my requirements are set up in such a way that I only want to be in a relationship with a man if he has the capacity to take that off my shoulders.
And to hold his own.
To hold his own and be a true partner and provide me the space. I'm not saying I'm looking for a man who's going to come and pay all my bills, but like someone who can come in and recognize and say, your to-do list is so long that's not giving you the space to do what you do best, which is creating and flowing and nurturing and
okay, let's just imagine this for a moment. It's you meet somebody who literally says, I want you to do what lights you up, and can we talk through what I can take off that list to allow room for what lights you up? Because when you're lit up, I fall more in love with you when I get to see you just being in your natural, joyous, creative state.
I have never had a male partner say these words to me that I've longed to hear for so long. What do you need from me?
Mm.
How can I help you right now?
I'm trying to think if I've ever had that said before. What do you need? I don't know if I'd even know what to do with that. Like, there's a part of me that's so excited for that. And another part of me, I have to work, I have to like really, I have to think about that. I might have to talk about that in therapy because that almost triggers me in a way that it's true vulnerability at that moment.
Being a giver is vulnerable, but being able to receive
Oof,
as someone who's been a giver is a more painful vulnerability.
I know. What is with that? Like, it's so
We have
interesting.
such a hard time receiving, and a lot of my journey the last 2 years has been coming to a space where I allow myself to receive.
You're really,
And
you've gotten way
one
better
of
at that.
and like the thing that came through in my love reading yesterday was that has been my journey. And I've had a series of karmic dating relationships in the last 2 years where each one of those has pushed me closer and closer to the space where I can understand myself and my needs and what my natural state of existence and being is so that I can receive a partner who facilitates and aligns with that.
Within that, did you listen to that Rich Roll podcast with his wife,
Mm.
Julie?
And see, when I think of like, let's take gender out of it. When I think of a healthy balance of that soft, creative, feminine energy and the more practical, logical,
Yeah,
masculine energy, I think of them.
I know. When
I think
Julie,
of Rich and his wife.
I know
Yeah.
when Julie stated, I want to know you, I want to know all of you. And he made me laugh out loud when he said, Um, it sounds so scary and creepy, even you saying this, even after 24 years of them being together. Like he still is like learning how to receive that because their dynamic has shifted now that it's a little bit of an empty nest syndrome and they're like having to now navigate. And I bet there's a ton of people in my life because most of the kids are all off to college. And if my friends are still married, they're kind of having to do that. But when she just says on there, I want to know every ounce of you, I felt that within like, I cried. I got my angel chills. I cried and wept. I actually paused it there because I wanted to hear it again because I want to allow myself to get used to hearing that.
You know why?
Why?
Because that is a spiritual connection.
That's what I
And
crave.
that is what we are craving. We
Yeah.
are craving a spiritual connection that goes below all the surface things.
And I will link that episode in these notes
It's so
because
beautiful. It's so
it is
beautiful.
it is a it is to behold and listen to how they work it through and how Julie stays within her divine feminine space of I'm going to be there and lead you through that part of the journey. And she even says it on air and they kept it. And, like, well, do you want to do this with me or without me? And he was like, and I mean, it was like a couple of minutes until he finally kind of answers that. Like, I was like, what is he going to say? Like, he better just say, like, because if like they break up, my whole world's going to be shattered, but they're not. He was just like, first of all, let me affirm I'm in this with you. And like that, oh, like I getting chills and getting a little
It's
emotional
it's
now.
that, maybe it's that yin and yang energy. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's so there's so much balance there. And you know, like I hate kind of using the terminology of masculine and feminine energy. We need to find new words for that. I think that's encompassing of all souls, but the softer, feminine, spiritual, creative energy is also a leader.
Yeah.
Because when the masculine energy is able to be receptive and open and soft and like safe with the feminine, that is where the spiritual happens. Because we lead to the spiritual.
But that is exactly the type of relationship I want. Of course, not one for me, not with a male, partner, with a female, but that energy, that energetic flow and love between them is probably the juiciest, and I'll use your terminology. And she even said juicy in there, like,
she did.
Because getting to know your person at that core, loving, delicious, juicy level is where our earth needs to be to vibrate and heal. I mean, how healing to be in that space is like, and then to be receiving of it, to reciprocate it, to push it back onto your love is just the things that are what we like. I have no words, like almost.
I know, we crave it. And here's what I'll say, going back to my reading, that's headed my way.
Yeah, I know.
Is what came,
fucking
and
awesome,
ultimately
right?
what my intuition has been is that there is this energy, there's this other soul that I haven't met yet, and we have been energetically with each other for a long time. Long time. I've been having visions and dreams of this person since I was a young child. And we have essentially energetically grown up together on another like dimension. And I know that sounds really fucking woo-woo for a lot of people, but I'm sorry, if you're here, you're probably a little woo-woo yourself, and so you get it. But I have been waiting for this soul connection for a long time. And it's to the space now where it's like, even in dating, I feel that connection with this other soul so strongly that it makes dating almost impossible. Because if it doesn't feel like that energy, I'm not interested anymore.
I get that.
And casual sex, forget about it. That's not happening. Because I know that the connection that this person and I have is so deeply spiritual that like it's going to be earth shattering.
Hell yeah, it is.
So I don't want anything less than that.
I know staying celibate is not the issue at all. Like it's so easy to just self-love right now for yourself in all the areas. And because swapping energy in that space it should be considered profound and not a little delulu on people's parts of sex doesn't create connection. Sex elevates the connection.
And spiritual and sacred sex takes you to a place where it really asks you
Kundalini,
to your most vulnerable self with another human being, because you're not just physically connected, you are spiritually connected in that
right
space.
And the words again, like just thinking about that Julie and Rich Roll conversation of wanting to know somebody to their core, like how amazing is that to see and then feel somebody and just to be awakening with that human to like.
And what she's talking about, like in that moment, what I felt when she said that was like, this is beyond body. This is beyond human.
Yeah.
This is, I want to know your
you.
soul
Yeah.
in its rawness, in its truth. I want to see it exactly how you experience it.
So fucking cool. Let's leave it right there.
I love it. Let's do it.
Because I mean, yeah, I literally have no more words on that. And again, love our conversation, and let's just I know, let's just keep this energy flowing. It's almost 2024. We've got things to do. We've got beautiful humans and to meet and intersect with, and projects that are aligning, and the divine timing is happening all around us. And hey, friend, I'm here to cheer you on in your divine journey always.
Likewise.
Yeah, I know it. Love you.
Love you. Mwah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. You know what to do.
If you enjoyed this episode today, be sure to subscribe and share, because what do we say, baby?
Sharing is caring.